No, I know one thing that I did was I met with Adam yesterday about our safety program, which was a really nice meeting to get a good overview. We talked about a couple different ideas from the ISWCA university that I went to that we might want to implement, but overall it was a really good meeting and I think we have a really great safety program. I think that's it.
I had a new early childhood board. It's like, I think it's called District 6 now. 14 counties was the first meeting. So basically all it was introductions and they moved that bill back, or I think it passed, but they gave more time. So I think there's like a year instead of like 4 months to get all this stuff in line. So basically they were just talking about how they have more time and we gotta do everything, make new bylaws and all kinds of stuff, I guess, so sounds like that good stuff, but that's it.
I had the meeting, but my streaming wasn't very well after our meeting last week, so, but the only other thing I had was Chris and I went down to the transportation building and looked at it, and we kind of left it at having the director just give us a list of exactly what things need attention. We kind of looked it over, the roof is sloped, or kind of
Got
swell in it. Couple other things, she mentioned the, mice dying underneath the floor and things like that.
Because it's a raised floor in there.
Probably because there's the wiring and stuff
up
is
there,
probably
yeah.
under the floor we imagined, but we just discussed some options, about Dylan's building or fixing this building up or, but she was in no hurry for anything. She just kind of, she goes, I just know other people have a 5-year plan. So I guess where it's left at is she's gonna make a list of what actual things need attention. So.
I don't think I really had anything this week. Okay, we're going down below. The weed commissioner, we still haven't met with Nick. Unless you know something that helps. Liquor licenses,
There's quite a few of them this week.
Make a motion to approve the liquor licenses.
Second,
all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Say nay. Liquor license is approved. Hilton Hall Conway Road closure request for June 14, 2025, event consideration.
Do they have a party?
fundraiser. I
A
think.
benefit.
Just needs a motion or?
As well as mention the details if we have anything.
We need the sheriff to put up barricades for that.
That was love. Amanda has her own barricade now. We'll have to carry. He's an engineer today.
I saw the sheriff back here.
I'm not positive. I think it's the engineer. I would like to request to block the street in front of Hilton Hall on June 14, 2025 for a benefit. There's the same thing, fundraiser benefit. Tammy Moss.
What's for this fundraiser for the Hilton Hall or what?
No, it's for somebody going through cancer.
Is there a motion to, is there a name for that street or we just sit it in front
I
of
think
Hilton Hall?
it's D.
Let's ask who the engineers, I think they put the barrier, at least a plan.
That one is
7th Avenue.
7th Avenue. So I'll make a motion to close a portion of 7th Avenue for,
In front of Hilton Hall.
in front of Hilton Hall for June 14th, right?
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Opposed, say nay. Motion approved, Mr. Mayor. Accept resignation of Jay Rourke from the Judicial Magistrate Appointing Commission. He got his letter in, so we just need to approve it.
I'll make a motion to accept Mr. O'Rourke's resignation.
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved. Pioneer Cemetery Commission resignation and appointment. Jim Johnson has turned his letter of resignation in.
I'll make a motion to accept his resignation.
I'll second. Oh, go ahead, Seth.
I'll second that.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, say nay. Motion approved. Motion to approve Jared Moss to be back on.
What?
Try. Put that back in there.
No,
We never did get a letter of resignation, did we?
we took him off. He wasn't reappointed. He got taken
Since we-
off.
Oh, that's right.
We started the whole commission again.
Oh, yeah. Why don't we put him back on then real quick?
Until he finds a suitable replacement.
Yep, second seat, here we go.
Okay, so everybody can take a look and see if he can think of something.
If nobody can find anybody, he'll do it again, but.
No, until, let's think about somebody who want to do it.
I got somebody I'll ask.
Yeah, if there's somebody more passionate, let's put them
He might
on,
not
but.
wanna do it, but.
Okay.
Maybe Brandy wants to do it.
Yeah, Brandy. Brandy's good.
So put that on for next week, put that on the agenda underneath the appointments.
Brandy is, what? Okay.
Okay, this is moving right along. How about anything for next week? Consider. Sweet.
Oh, we didn't put that on there for this week, about discussing that 2-acre parcel.
Oh, yeah.
Put that on for next week then.
Yeah, look at that. That's.
Yeah, do you have all the specifications where it's at? She wants to put it on.
Yes, I just got rid of it. Oh, I see.
Middle of nowhere.
Pretty much.
And that'd be interesting to see how that got there. I mean, how.
Yeah, I said, I had Sherry Pope look into it and
And then she said.
she went back to 1990 and she, I spend more time, I said, no more taxpayer dollars on that.
Scott, maybe it's a cell tower or something.
That's what she thought,
Usually,
but no,
That's a pretty low.
probably for electric tower
I
or
got it.
something.
usually at least,
I think that's a low lying area.
Yeah,
all you notice they didn't put one up.
Yeah.
And one thing I forgot to mention in communications, the Hilton Township trustee contacted me, they did rent that building out to that mental health.
Did they do it via resolution?
What's that?
Did they do it via resolution like Tim had advised?
They were supposed to talk to him, so,
You might want to double check on that.
yeah, I can check, but Kenton was gonna call the county attorney's office to set up the lease and stuff, so. Is that a resolution that has to come here?
No, they have to do a
They have to
resolution.
do it.
He was very clear about that.
I'm not for certain who will have the engineer's office yet, because it sounds like next to the civil.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, we can have them. I guess Jefferson. Unless Jefferson, long we can have Rob come earlier too. Somebody need a bathroom break or anything? The flea market to sell everything down there, Jimmy?
I've never been there.
The flea
Watching.
market?
I haven't been down there in a couple of years.
It's pretty big though, ain't it?
Mhm.
I used to be bigger than Sherry, Pope used to go there all the time. What was it today?
Yeah, I think it started in Wednesday or yesterday. I'm not really sure, so.
Everyone down to watch here is all the kids play baseball down there.
Watch here, why not, right?
Back behind Casey's.
Watch here, why not?
Brandon parcel number is 163-501-042.
I think that's the one I went down and looked at one time. It's just kind of off the road and like a little piece of timber.
It's all timber.
Look to a private timber too, right?
Yes,
Yes.
or from Volk's.
Look at Kitty Kynes and Teresa O'Berry.
Well, the only access is by easement, right?
Yeah, there's no access, I don't think there's any access to it.
I think you gotta, I don't know why that came up, like, it came up last year, we discussed that for some.
Or are you thinking about that 20-acre parcel down there that's like?
Because I actually drove down and looked at it. I remember driving down there and looked. Maybe it was just because we had a list of,
Property.
because there's a few pieces of property like that.
Hey, Chris.
Yes.
Can you run that number by again to the parcel?
163-501-042.
Thank you.
Mhm.
If I can find it here. So go down to 270.
Yeah.
What township?
Yeah, York. Be right,
It's way south of York, right?
Yeah, it's on the southern end of York, yep.
be where like the K-Kines live there to the east and south of the road, right?
Mhm.
Let's see, Icorn.
You're too far north,
Too far north?
yeah,
Robin,
and you need to go east. South and east,
Yeah, you gotta find that W.
Finnegan Farms,
yeah, it's close to
Very
that,
close.
east of that.
Finnegans, which is spelled really weird. I mean, I see Vernon Finnegans with the pond. So there's 275th, and then it makes a curve to the north, and then a curve back to the west.
You need to go east of that curve, I think.
Are you on Beacon?
Yeah.
Go to search and type in that number I gave you, or I said.
What was it?
Let me look there. 163-501-042. Then hit map again, it'll take you right to it.
163
501-042.
042. Oh, there's not.
Take you right to it then?
Took me right back where I was at. Oh, I guess we went on back.
Did you go to search?
Yeah, I put it in there. Where's it at? There's kitty cats. Kitty cats.
Go this one. Okay, so,
Oh,
there
there
it is, right there it is.
Oh.
Yep.
Yeah, I drove down there.
Something funky went on there at some time, 'cause there's,
Well, the last time it was a piece, I thought they said that they didn't pay their taxes or something. The taxes when they're paying on it, but yeah, it's weird how it becomes one little piece though.
but right in between Vernon there and there, Kitty Kings and Teresa, there's another person there, you see that, with like a 4-acre chunk. It doesn't connect to that Iowa County, but
Oh, that Catherine Maupin.
yeah, Columbus, Ohio, where's she from? Owns 4 acres of timber.
Columbus, Ohio,
That's
owns
what it
that.
says. There's like a 4-acre chunk and a little rectangle timber there. Right in the middle of all that other stuff, so.
I think they're before the first, but that's the person. Oh, there we go.
Catherine Maupin?
Yeah.
Do we need to put masks on?
Maybe. Yeah. You don't look
little pale,
Yeah, you don't look pale yet.
I think I look pretty good today.
Chris, who was inquiring about it?
Kitty Kite, check Kitty Kite was.
Because it's more of my one. I guess. Yeah, because the driveway I was talking about was that one to the east. Because it looks like a big distance there, but it's not a big distance when I went down and looked at it.
Before you get started, when they do road closures, and Amanda, you gave them the barricades to keep that, right?
I believe so. They've had barricades for probably 10 years now.
They're gonna do another one in Hilton. Do you put the barricades up for them?
At the Hilton Hall.
We just did it today. We're gonna close it, one of the roads off to do a fundraising benefit.
Hilton Hall and Conway.
In Conroy, right?
Oh, by the park.
You supply the barricades for them to put up? I thought we'd done, that's how it was done in the past.
For Conroe, I don't recall.
Oh, we've done it for Amanda, so I didn't know if that was,
Well, yeah, but we've done it for Amanda, but Amanda also, I think, is paid for those other. I mean, I can go down, we can do signs, we can do real close signs.
for one day.
When's
June 14th.
June 14th?
Yeah. Before I forget to say something about that.
Road close signs to Amanda. And who
No,
down
to
there?
Conroe.
Or to Conroe, I'm sorry.
Got rainfall, yeah.
Right? Who's gonna be responsible for those down there?
Danny,
Yeah, Tammy
Danny
Moss.
Moss. She's not, she can pass it on to somebody else in that group.
Well, she does the hall rental, so kind of all makes sense.
Okay, is she the one that requested the road?
Yeah,
Does she have a phone number?
Yeah.
You can just text it to me.
Perfect. Thank you.
Okay, the V77 guardrail is done.
It looks good.
Drive by, take a look, yeah.
yeah, it does.
So, maybe this fall we'll have to come back and tune up the box a little bit on the inside, but that part's done. Not much new in the way of the other construction. Our guys are still doing that box culvert to be set on May 13th. So I think they're almost ready for that.
Seamless transition.
Our guys, contract rock is all done, so now we're doing some spot rock and grading and getting ready for the dust control. I'll have to talk with them early next week about when they're gonna do that, but, or be ready for dust control, but, that's what we're working toward right now. And then our guys also did the patches up there on M Avenue by Kinsey's. It was really wet underneath there, and I think that that was the spot.
It
So,
was.
and their core and part of it out again today. And I think once it just kind of dries up a little bit, now we put a tile, we went pretty deep, we put a tile in. And once, they said it was pretty wet, once the water finds its way to the tile, I'm assuming it'll drain a lot better. But, so yeah, now we're just gonna let them sit and settle. As far as the office goes, I do have all the letters of support. They're all in, so I'll get those emailed out today. The guys in the office did help with the patch on M Avenue and surveying, staking for the projects. We did get, I think it was 60, somewhere around there, new first aid kits for all the trucks and stuff. So those did arrive. I gotta get those dispersed. And Williamsburg Elementary did their annual ditch cleanup up there. They got 120 pounds of trash, the kids did. So that's pretty neat, you know.
Where'd they do that at?
So that road is it 240th in front of the school out to M Avenue. So they do it every year, so to get 120 pounds of trash in that little stretch in 1 year is
That's a lot.
impressive. And then also, just so that everyone knows that the hydro seeder is broke, and it'll be down for about 3 weeks. So,
Because just wore out or doing something? Okay.
I gotta look into that a little bit, yeah. So,
Does that define the parts?
well, we got a whole new axle ordered. Yeah, like $1,600 or something like that. So, but it'll take a few weeks to get here, so.
There wasn't an incident?
We kind of look at into, into it. But, just if you see things aren't getting seeded, might just have to be more hand seeding, so.
Well, that's what you used on B-77 already.
Yeah,
That's a good job.
yeah, it sprays out pretty good, yeah. So that's about all I have I'm still catching up and just gonna be catching up for the day, so.
Feeling any better than?
I feel a lot better, yeah.
Pretty bad, huh?
It was just a fever, really, it turns out. But, yeah, you think like, oh, sitting around watching TV all day, that'd be fun. I didn't get it.
No,
Boring after first morning.
Man, it was sleeping all day.
Sleeping?
You got up on all your episodes of The View?
Yeah.
as the world turned.
That's the one.
Sound like Jesse Raphael or whatever it used to be. Is that still alive? Still living?
I think that's.
Did you know they play Shark Tank 24 hours a day on the channel on screen?
Do they? Oh, yeah, I'm just watching TV. Every time I get up and be like, oh, I gotta sit back down.
Okay. But like I said, hopefully this Phelan thing, we can come up with like, Chris and I were talking about maybe 45 or whatever.
Yeah, sure, I'll look that up. Yeah, sorry I didn't get on that, and I still haven't heard back, from the residents on that want to do the seal coat, so I'll get in touch with them. I did email Parnell about their road, because I don't think I officially have a 28E signed on their part, unless they mailed it to you guys,
I don't remember.
but so I haven't heard back from them.
We have them.
So I'll keep on some of that stuff and,
All right.
Thank you. See you.
Yes, have a good weekend.
Come on down. Because you've got a group of people you have to wait for.
So what?
You have a group of people you're waiting on anything?
Just you, yourself, and I?
Just me, myself, and I,
I
yeah.
wish we had people there.
What, yeah,
Never enough people, when we move people ahead, it's nice to know.
Recently back from a few days off, huh?
Yeah, it was bad. It was a fever, a headache on the right-hand side. It was not influenza A, it was not COVID. But I thought I was gonna die, so.
You hit me up with Nick.
I don't know what happened. I was at school and then I got back Easter Sunday. You know, I felt a little bit chilled, which is weird because I'm like one walking hot flash the entire time. And then Monday I was here, went home, told Adam I didn't feel good and went down with a sack of potatoes for like 3 solid days. So Friday I was able to shower and I don't watch TV.
We probably can cut back on some of the information.
Thanks, Kevin. Appreciate you too. All right. So typically I come like twice a year. You know, not a whole lot changes. I'm busy. You're always welcome to come down to the office, say hi. So the end of year report for 2024. So in 2023, the office was able to do right around 279 claims, and that was for the entire year in 2023. So 2024, we went ahead and counted up, it was 294 claims for the entire year. So that showed an increase of 15 claims through the office, which is pretty good. Any questions on the numbers? Okay. Next.
Yeah, I mean, I think that's remarkable considering what happened, because a lot of your population is passing away. So,
Mhm.
I mean, that's,
So, but it's also the family members, it's the spouses.
right.
You know, so once a veteran passes away, if the spouse is still alive, then we have to open up a whole different claim for DIC benefits. Right now, the frustration is that roughly the VA is close to 15 to 18 months behind for widows. So we have widows that their husbands have passed away from something that was service connected. And the VA, all they have to do is just hit the button, And they're not hitting the button because they're that backlogged. So that's where that kind of frustration comes in. Out-of-state travel requests. Louisville,
We'll approve this until you go someplace really cool.
They
Bora
are supposed to be
Bora.
Reno.
There you go.
Yeah, Reno. That was not my favorite place to go.
I was gonna say that that's a good place to go.
I will refrain from the highlights of Reno. So.
Oh, good.
Issues and concerns. So in the 11 years I've been doing this, 11 years next Monday, TJ Klosser has always been my point of contact. So we'll say if we get a veteran tombstone where they are indigent, or if the tombstone has broken or gotten all cockeyed, TJ's always been the point of contact to go out there and like reset the stone. He's always done a really great job. Cleans it up. He's moving, which is understandable. Bowen Yoder is very receptive, so as we go ahead and approach him, I don't know if he'll maintain that $300 price that TJ has, but I'm hoping he will. So, yeah. Grave markers. Route 2. So when I first started, $14.95 for these. These were like $9.95. Now these are $45.95. So, but they're not bronze. Bronze gets stolen.
Yes, that's what I was wondering, how many of you had stolen
Aluminum, but it's also a federal offense.
this one here?
Yeah, that one's aluminum. The other one's plastic, which is why we don't order it, because it'll break after 1 month. Yeah. But I wanted you guys to kind of
What
see.
was, how much for the bronze ones back in the day?
$45.95.
So do you put them out and just leave them out?
No, so usually it depends. So sometimes the families will go ahead and take those, and when the tombstone is poured, or like the base of the tombstone is poured, they'll go ahead and they'll fix that into the cement. So that way then they'll epoxy the very top part so you can't unscrew it. Those are the ones that are permanent, like they don't go anywhere, unless of course the mower shears them off. But otherwise, the American Legions and the VFWs are pretty good about taking them back in. And it's because there's been so many thefts as of the last couple of years. We had 6 counties up north that had thousands of tombstones damaged, where they pried off the bronze portion of it. They sheared down the name and they turned them in for, thousands of dollars worth of damage, and for like $700. So that's why we go with the more expensive ones. So our budget, we've never changed the budget. It's always been like $796.
You can really see the plastic when they're gonna make it.
Yeah, you can tell that, yeah.
So my name is Bergen Ringo. We do our annual blood drive, donation for the Veterans Home. We had the 2nd annual lit Christmas drive-through at the Iowa County Fairgrounds. Our first annual veterans drawing for a clipboard, again, that was donation. And then we also attended various events that are not limited to dinners held for veterans organizations, meetings such as VFW, American Legion, Auxiliary, Veteran Flag Initiative, and Salute to the Fallen. We're able to offer educational services as well, and sit on a panel of experts in November 2024, which was cool. Education. Our office was able to attend both state schools and the National Association of County Veterans Officers School, and that was in Denver, Colorado. I was also able to participate in the Thrive course for suicide prevention and awareness, as well as the Advanced Appeals course through NACBSO. State, I've acted as the first vice for the last 2 years. So the way, you got the president, you got the first vice, so I'd be like JD Vance, and then you got the second vice. I was second vice for like 8 years, and then I went to first vice. Elections are coming up in October. I am hoping that the board would bless me with being able to run for president for the association for the state. It's a 2-year term. I don't intend on doing anything more than 2 years. I just would like to set up the association for this transition. There's some changes with the state. A lot of us don't even know for sure what those changes are. We just know that there's changes. So I would like to have a smooth transition for the association into whatever next era that we're facing. So yeah, that's kind of putting that out there. I don't need your answer today. It's kind of food for thought.
I don't think we have to
You
give
probably
it.
have it.
Huh?
I don't think we have to give it to you
No,
either.
but I always like permission that just in
Yeah.
case.
think we're all in support of that.
Yeah.
Score. County office goals, to continue to provide excellent services to all our veterans who contact the office. This goal is the first and foremost of goals every single year. To attend the Certified Veteran Advocate course in July. That will help me with veterans that we are appealing to the higher level courts. So there's multiple tiers with the claims process. You got the initial claims process, takes anywhere from 8 months to about 14 months. If the VA comes back and says, no, we don't think your hearing loss is service connected, even though you were around large explosions, we turn around and we do a higher level appeal, or we do a supplemental claim. Those take anywhere from 8 months to a year. And then if that fails, we take it to a higher level court, which is the Bureau of Veterans Affairs, and that's in Washington, DC. I don't go, I just help set up the claims, doing the legal work. So that will help with that. Also, to work towards becoming a certified veteran suicide awareness and prevention instructor. The VA government expense report, the GDX report, is what I usually provide you guys with what the numbers are for how much we have for federal funding coming in the county. It's not out yet, you know, so I've been looking every single day, but the next time I meet with you guys, I'll have them set. So, questions, feedback, anything you like to go do?
Good work.
No, I think you do a great job.
All right, please. All right.
You're speaking faster.
I appreciate it.
I
I
meet you
appreciate
guys
it.
like twice a year, and I do have some social anxieties.
Oh, it used to be terrible. You guys went around your face.
You should have seen me when I first started. It was like,
It's like a chipmunk jacked up in a
person not be
mountain.
relaxed around us?
Oh, she was.
And it's our firecrackers, there we go.
one-on-one, I'm okay.
The first two meetings, you were like a chipmunk jacked up.
Say what?
You were a chipmunk jacked up. You
Oh,
couldn't
yeah,
understand anything.
Jack up on
Doesn't
crack.
know he did that to me earlier.
We had one meeting where someone's like, you need to be more like your mom, and I was like, are you kidding me? Definitely don't want me more like my mom, that's okay, no worries.
Your mom's nice.
She is, unless you make her mad, then she'll slit your throat with her tongue, I've seen her do it.
Well, I'm pretty sure you had it coming
That was a good.
compared to.
Thank you.
Have a good
See ya,
weekend.
thank you.
Guys.
Have fun.
Anybody call?
I get, huh?
You text on Rodder to get him?
I texted, I haven't heard back.
Do we have any claims this week?
Payroll week. Oh, this is claims week.
Yeah, so that's one thing.
Better out of here.
Let me go get some.
I was gonna say, I never signed it.
Maybe either.
Usually sign something every week.
Yeah.
That would have been, we all left and.
Didn't sign payroll.
But like payroll, could have done it anyhow.
Oh,
My wife's in there.
The claims one.
Abby, did you see the email for Aflac?
Yeah, I talked to Brandy about it, I took care of it. And I've given him all that.
But they got addresses last year, didn't they?
And yes, they did, and Sarah gave him that, and that's it.
Because it says she didn't give them addresses.
We did last year.
The email this year says that, so we might hear about that.
What more could they want?
I think
Everybody's social security numbers and,
the guy I asked about, or said about the cemetery commission said no, so
okay.
Jared may still be running.
She said, Sarah, in the timber, and here's his phone. And he lives in the condos by the golf course there. I called him up and said, Steve, I understand you're the man of timber, not the mushrooms right now. Like you're eligible for a permit.
Right.
But you're,
She's struggling.
She's got a crown.
she's got
She
a
can't-
counter
She's got a holder, so she.
She's got a lot of cotton.
Oh, really? Yikes.
But the conversation didn't go very well after that.
Oh, really?
Because you're giving them a chance.
Yeah, I said, I'm being reasonable here right now. I said, I don't have to see you in the timber to file charges.
Okay, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, I was just gonna see if it would be acceptable to you folks if we gave a $1 an hour, training, call it a bonus for when we're training in dispatch. It wouldn't cost any money, any additional money, because when we have turnover, we go from their pay, their top out pay down to a training wage. So it kind of pays for itself. But we just want people to maybe put a little more ownership in the training to make it more efficient. And, you know, it's very stressful in there when the most you can be is doubled up and the person you're sitting with is not only not helpful, but they have to have everything explained to them. So it's like kind of hairy in there when you're doing training. And so I just like to give them a little bit of incentive to, you know, I don't want to say they don't take it seriously. They absolutely take it seriously, but I just like them to have a little ownership in it. Understand that we need to get these folks trained, successfully trained and through probation and on their own.
So this would be to the person doing the training?
Yeah,
Just the hours that they're training?
Right.
Because I'm assuming it's not the same person training.
no, it's not. They move around. So, you know, we're probably talking about hundreds of dollars here as far as what it would cost.
The bookkeeping nightmare.
Not really. I mean, well, I guess we could ask the auditor.
You can ask what you want to, but you gotta
They would be like, I suppose,
It's a different
similar
form of
to putting
communication.
like shift differential in there, keep track of that, so.
You've done it before, I guess, with secondary roads, I switch jobs all the time.
I don't see a problem with it.
See what the problem would be, I guess.
And just to keep it the same, I asked that we did it for jailers, but the turnover in the jail is much less, but it, you know.
Now,
so-
since you wanna do this, is this something you're gonna write in one of your policies in, so it's well known?
I could do that, I could,
I would prefer it be done that way you
Yeah.
get something to go back on.
yeah, so we have that, what we call the union replacement policies that were an addendum to the handbook. We can add it, I could write something up and send it to you.
Okay, I think that'd be best,
Okay,
that way we remember it.
right.
Is there a motion to approve this, or we have more questions?
I'll make a motion to approve that.
I'll second.
Dispatch and jailer training wage.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, say nay. Motion approved.
And if you don't, if I send you the language and you want something changed, tell me. It's not gonna be very complicated.
Okay.
And then, do you want to talk about this other issue? I know it's hard to talk about publicly, but we have this.
Be as vague as possible.
Yeah, so we have an FMLA issue where someone is a newer employee who has a very sick child, and they don't have the sick time in their bank, but the employees are willing to donate. But according to the policy right now, you can only do that when it's for the employee himself and not anyone. So I don't know what to do about that.
So is that in the county policy, or is that in the sheriff's policy?
It's
in the county policy.
I don't know if they have their own policies.
Mhm.
And I don't know-
Well, that's where the auditor's office had reached out to Ehlers and the answer was just straight no,
Yeah.
like not, a no.
Okay.
My only issue, like, I understand the situation and I feel bad, but then what happens when it's a parent, a grandparent, uncle, like, and, you know, and we don't feel the same way that somebody should take, you know, time off from the county, and then we say no to that, and but we said yes to this.
Okay. So, you know, in light of that, we'll have to deal with, because she's gonna have to probably take time off without pay, and I don't know what has to be done for that. I mean, obviously, under FMLA, you can do that. As long as we don't come into any trouble with like insurance coverage and stuff, I don't know how any of that works. That's the other concern.
You can't say.
I'm here, I'll bring it up. If you talk to Sarah, she can give you the details.
Okay.
And then if there's something that it becomes an issue, like you see that it's gonna become like a really big issue, please let us know. So that way we can think about that more. But I think just for right now, I would feel uncomfortable just because then we're opening it to,
It'd be interesting to see what other counties have, if they have, you know, if it's a dependent that you claim on your taxes. Do other counties have that different? So that wouldn't be like I mean, you could have an adult dependent on your taxes as well.
yeah.
Just from thinking about it is, I mean, these people are donating their time, you know, if it's somebody that's not, they're not
Yeah.
gonna donate it.
That's, I think
You know
that
what I
too,
mean?
but
So if it's kind of up to them to don't, I don't know. I mean, I don't see.
Yeah, it's an odd situation that it's hard to believe we've never had it before us, because I didn't even realize that there was an issue, because we've done donating before, and then when they're on FMLA, you just use whatever time is in your bank to.
It's still an employee itself though.
Right, yeah, and I never saw that until now.
I understand it. I mean, it would take a policy change to do it.
Yeah.
Well, we don't have to get
well, I'm
too
looking
deep
at the
into it here.
state's policy too right now.
That's what I was gonna check. I was gonna check with my former office and see what they.
It says
do.
catastrophic illness is the eligibility to receive donated leave hours.
For a person, for an employee or family member?
It says employees are eligible to receive donated leave hours for catastrophic illness. Catastrophic illness means a physical or mental illness or injury certified by a provider resulting in the inability of an employee or immediate family member to work for more than 30 work days on a consecutive or an intermittent bias. So that one would be an immediate family member.
Well, obviously, it's, no matter what happens, it has to be a policy issue anyway, so. Probably something for discussion outside of this meeting right now, but I'll find out, like, I don't think we are at that point right now where we know, or can assume how long it's gonna be.
You don't want to wait till it's too late either, if we can start making the ball roll if we need to.
Right. There's procedures gonna be done here rather quickly. And so, that's, I don't know any, you know, great detail, just, I know the basics of the illness, and it's pretty bad.
So I guess we'd have to change our policy to do the immediate family member.
I can look into what our former office does, or are
So
you gonna
you want to put
base it on that
You want to
there?
discuss it next week more in detail?
We could put it on the agenda.
Yeah.
I'll
Yeah, I
email
realize
this
it's
to you.
not an
It's just
agenda
weird, it
item.
never came up, like you
I
said.
can't believe it happened.
I'll CC you on this email around.
And I think I'm actually coming next week for.
Yeah, for the radio discussion. What time is that?
11.
11?
So we'll just get it in. And maybe you want to hear from other department heads as well. I mean, it's certainly if it's a policy change, it's not something that us.
I mean, if it's on the states, that's the states, you said, policy. Yeah. Immediate family, I mean, I don't know, we couldn't make that.
It sounds like a good idea, just got to think about it.
Yeah, right, I
But-
agree,
but-
it's gotta be talked, yeah.
We'd have to,
But the state has gone through with it, so that's a good testing
Yeah,
ground.
right.
That'd have to be probably discussed with Hellers, right? To make sure you're right.
Okay,
Okay,
that sounds good.
anything else?
No, unless you guys have anything else.
How did, the thing with Brett Bird go yesterday?
Very good, had a great turnout, had, state folks there as well, so really nice.
What was she doing out of county yesterday?
You know what, she just every once in a while likes to check in with law enforcement, see if there's anything that they can do to help them. You know, they've started some new programs. Probably the biggest one that affects us is the cold case unit. We have some things that we've asked the FBI to do for us, that is something they should be doing, and in 10 years of asking, they still haven't done. So, what I think is gonna happen is maybe a little bit of a louder voice coming from the state attorney general to say, hey, can you do this for us? So it's good stuff. They have investigators that can help. They don't have any certified officers, at least, that aren't retired, but they certainly can help. And they understand what the cases are and can help leverage some of those things like what FBI has to offer and other jurisdictions. So there's a lot of things going on with the AG's office right now, but one thing I told her, and this is, I've been in law enforcement 35 years. I never met the other attorney general. He never came around. He never talked to us. In fact, I saw him in places where clearly, we were in uniform. And I'm sure he's a nice person, but he wasn't a prosecutor. And so I can't tell you how many times I've met with the attorney general now. She is definitely a prosecutor. She's definitely helping law enforcement get their job done. It's impressive. I was really glad that she reached out. She wanted to have a meeting with us, and I think she's basically going around doing that. I don't think we were special. I think it was just, she wanted to meet with local law enforcement throughout the state. So came to us yesterday. It was a great meeting.
Everybody come, like cities and everything?
Yeah.
Good.
Yeah, I think we had 16 people there, which is good, in a county this size. Yeah.
Opposed, say nay, we are adjourned. Okay, John, I got a question, I got your other job question.
What?
Your other job.